So, in today's video, we are going to replace this little guy in Spinook because I want to see just how much better the startup torque is when using this. And I'm going to be using my faulty spare, which, as it turns out, has a short when I try to drive it around, and I can show you that. Get the right bit. In a bit. Ha. Show you that in a bit. Where is it? Show you that in a bit. So we have our power switch, our power connector, some goo, and holds it all together. We got our battery, we've got our motor, we've got a drive belt. Lighting's pretty terrible in here. Got a drive belt, so that can come off. Got a thrust bearing. And we've got some cutting on the battery from all the testing I was doing. That doesn't look too good, but not the end of the world. Should be fine. If it does end up being the end of the world, whoops, sorry battery. I know you tried your best. So you can power this up here. So basically, actually that's normal. I need to keep track of my screws. Basically, I want this to not happen. There's not enough torque until it gets up to speed. And I'm hoping the afro will solve that issue. Seems like the electrical source is gone though, other than that. That's just the 2 amp stall current limit that I have that's on the speed controller here. So let me just move this stuff out of the way. And let's get started. This is the NBOTS switch. I have actually shorted out some wiring in the system. This switch was fine. The battery was fine. The components that shorted out were not fine, and neither was the wiring. But today we're focused on replacing this guy. Currently I have an Emax Formula 45 amp in there. We're going to an Afro 20 amp because I don't have much room for anything else. This is a small little robot. everyone keeps telling me it's too small. So, first things first, I hot glued the bejesus out of it. Because I didn't expect that I would be transplanting a different speed controller in here. So let's get hot glue out. We will leave that for now. I want to try to totally replace that without desoldering too much. Okay, so looks like this guy's pretty loose already. Now, funny thing about me is I have destroyed more electronics fiddling with the darn things, putting them together, than I have in actual combat. Well, I guess you could say it's either funny or sad. Well, the receiver antenna is jammed in with this mess. Got to get it out first so I don't rip it off. That's happened before. Happens a lot, more than I'd like it to. Alright, so this should be a pretty simple swap. I just need to get at the positive and negative of these wires. Looks like red wire is already open and accessible. Black wires to follow, and I will probably also transplant this piece if I can. Get yourself a good pair of these nips. These things are great. This is my most used tool by far, followed by this nice 5-inch pair of needle nose pliers. Essential tools right here, folks. We've been having a discussion on what tools do you need to take these things apart? As few as possible. And make sure you always carry them. And don't let anyone else use them because you'll never get them back and it's always a problem. So now we're turning on our soldering iron. We're gonna start desoldering this. I'm gonna get the motor wires ready and prepped. Sorry, ESC, I'm going to have to chop off your heat shrink here. I know. I can buy more heat shrink if I need to. I don't have any other heat shrink though. What you see is what you get. The soldering iron is already hot. I use an Hakko FX888D. That's this guy here. Very good soldering iron. And I always like to keep it at 830. I'm pretty sure that's Fahrenheit, but it's low enough where I can just kind of leave it sitting around without overheating the tip to oblivion, and high enough to get at most solder stuff. The high temperature solder sometimes requires a little bit longer to hold, but it'll still get it. Come on. Get my tiny grubby fingers in there. Okay. Moment of truth, here we go. Let's do this. 1, 2, 3. Oh, of course I did. Of course I freaking did. There we go. So there's the motor leads. Get those out of the way for now. We'll need them later. Motor leads. And then we have our ESC, which is now out of our system, making it a little bit easier to work with. So we will go bippity boppity boop. Come on. This must be a high temperature solder. There we go. There we go. And it's out. Now the question is, transplant that or leave what it's got in there, because I really don't want to have to deal with that. That heat shrink goes all the way to the board, and it's nice and in there. Not a good spot for this. Why am I doing this? It's too late now. I already did it. Balls. That's the easy one. So the afro comes attached with these bullet connectors, which, while nice, will not fit weight-wise or volume-wise in my robot. So they must come off. So I am literally just going to transplant this ESC minus all of its wires. Minus all of its wires right into our robot. So I have to get the heat shrink off of this. This is a much tougher heat shrink. It's like hard plastic. Remember your positives and negatives, folks, or you will explode or pop and let out the magic smoke. Whatever electronic it is you're trying to use. Now what's interesting here is one of those capacitors is also, focus. One of those capacitors is also already soldered to the positive side, so that makes me more comfortable with that. I'm going to leave this sticker off to the side for safekeeping. Now I can see the board. Looks nice. Now we can unsolder these two wires. Come on. Yeah, this stuff's all high temperature solder. I should probably increase my irons a little bit. Hold enter. Up to 870. Oh, wow. Okay. This is some high temperature stuff. Get off the board. Unsolder. Leave it to Afro to have to make me all the way up on my soldering iron. Now people might be wondering, where's your helping hands? I don't typically use them if I can avoid it. Alright, come on. Get off. Get unsoldered. This is some very high temperature solder here. Oh! Almost had it. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make it a little lower temperature. We're going to force it to a different state. What the heck? How is this connected? There we go. That was really wedged in there. Sorry if you can't really see that. That was in there pretty good. So I'm going to use this common rail as reference as for the negative side. Now onto the motor pieces, which also has this big piece of heat shrink all over it. We will just remove that real quick. Sorry, my camera angles are bad. I'm bad at this. But that's why it's a hobby. You don't have to be good to do it. You just have to enjoy it. You have to enjoy it. You're not allowed not to enjoy it. So, now those are off. Negative is that way. Let's go. I'm guessing these are also high temperature solder. Nope. They come right off. It's interesting. That was easy. Staples. Actually, I don't think they use that slogan anymore. Lol. So now we come back to Spinook. What we're going to want to do is clean up these a little bit. Hot. No crap, it's hot. It's solder. The trick is not to have it on too long, so you don't burn yourself. Check yourself before you burn yourself. I mean, wreck yourself. I mean, what? So, just as a quick test fit, it will, in fact, fit now within the confines of our device. Got to make sure that it sits so that negative side is out. So with that in place, it should fit. Should fit. Just like that. That's what we want. So the tricky part is wiring this upside down and then twisting it back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pre-twist these. That way I can just rotate it and be good to go. So I don't have to fuss over trying to shove it all back in there. So let's get started. Now I'm not going to worry about trying to stuff what's it called, shrink wrap over these, because they're motor wires and it's fine. As long as they don't come unsoldered, my vehicle won't stop running and everything will be fine. But I will probably shrink wrap over everything at the end here. Oh, come on. Where's your helping hands? Yeah. I don't need one. Jerks. Okay. Now I have to be careful here to actually get it on the pad completely without having any little stray wires poking around, because that is what causes shorts, is a tiny little piece of strayed fray wire that you didn't quite get in the solder. I am doing a hacky job at this. There we go. That's better. And now the third one. Last but not least, probably, definitely, most certainly. Oh, that iron is hot. That is a hot iron. I need to flatten this a little. Oh, that is hot still. A word to the wise, soldering is hot. You can think of it as smexy if you want, but I'm referring to the way that it can literally cause harm to you, physical burn harm, if you are not careful. Okay. Tricky. Trixies. Hobbitses are trixies. Hobbitses. Trixies. Come on, there you go. Melt. Oh, there we go. And that'll do, pig. That'll do. Boop, boop, boop. 1, 2, 3. There you go. Oh, you didn't see any of that. There it is. Ha! I am so bad with camera angles. Whoops. My bad. I done oofed. 1, 2, 3. Done. And then it rotates and sits firmly where I wanted it to. Oh, well, I guess we can have it sit like that as well. In fact, that's how it's going to stay because I don't feel like changing it now. And it fits. It fits. Fits nicely. Exactly how the other one fit. Well, it doesn't quite fit nicely per se, but it's pretty good. It needs to sit down in there and stay sitting in there though. That's the trick, without touching the motor. Just like that is our final destination for this ESC. Perfect. And now we boop the negative wire. Yes, I remembered, that's the negative. And the positive. So we'll get that in there. In place, as they say. Nobody says that. I'm just speaking out my butt. Because talking to myself is weird. Talking to an audience that can't currently hear me is just as weird. I may need a little more solder on this, yeah. There we go. Nice and chunky solder. You know how I said I was going to use heat shrink? Yeah, no. I might end up using hot glue. 98% likely I will be using hot glue. Now, the red wire. Don't cut it. We need it. And, yeah. We need the red wire. Because it's going to go right here. We're going to need a little more solder on that. Hot. Hot. Heat rises. Heat rises, people. Don't do this. Ouch. Don't. Ouch. Yep, that hurts. Heat rises. What are you, a hypocrite? Yes. Don't do exactly what I'm doing right now. Because heat rises. That doesn't make sense. You don't make sense. Well, I make dollars. Okay, there we go. Oh. Yeah, did it. I did it. Now I just have to deal with this. Which we're gonna say. Well, I'd really not like to. We're gonna bunch it up in a little ribbon pack, and it's gonna stay right there because I told it to, and it's fine. Everything's fine. Nothing will blow up. Everything's gonna blow up. Stuff it in there. Real good. Oh yeah, right in there. Perfect. What could possibly go wrong? Oh, I said it. I said it. Now everything's gonna go wrong. Moment of truth. Let's see if I wired it correctly. Or if it explodes on turning on. Or should I hot glue everything first? Let's make sure it works. Soldering is complete. Ooh, it made a different noise. Oh. And it's spinning in reverse. Oh. That right there, folks, that's what I'm after. It seems to be okay. That might work. That's promising. Drives fine. Weapon's all right. Looks good.